Hey folks, this is my son's gun. He built this with his own money, and saved up his birthday and Christmas money and bought parts at gun shows, and eventually finished this all by himself. Now, I mean, I had to help him build certain parts of it and help him get some of those springs and stuff in there, but he was involved in the whole process of it. And he sold a couple of his other rifles to get the final money to buy the upper and stuff. He started out with this Anderson lower, but this upper didn't quite mate up with that lower. This was a really tight fit. But yeah, I would put a different upper on that lower and it worked fine. And I would put that lower on a different upper and it worked fine. It was just something between that lower and this upper. And we had talking about it. He's got the 22 LR conversion kit in this, and so we bought this cheap Polymer lower, and then I bought that old lower from him. And this is an FDE firearm, FMK firearms, made in Pasadena, California, multi-caliber. It's AR-1 Extreme. Has a quote from Thomas Jefferson on it. It says, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." And he also put a Magpul MOE Plus hand grip on it. He had a black one, but he wanted to go with the brown one today, so I bought his black one from him for my rifle, and he bought a brown one today when we were at the range. The one thing is, this Polymer lower is supposed to be FDE, but it's a little bit darker than the FDE of the Magpul, but that doesn't really matter. So we'll go ahead and tear it apart here. Go ahead and pop the pins out if I can. This back pin still sits in there a little tight. Hang on. Find something to pop it with. The disc is still a little bit tight. There it goes. Okay. And we'll pull it out. And then we'll pop this front pin out. Maybe. There we go. Now we'll take the upper off. Hopefully. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. And we'll go ahead and unfasten the strap. Just so you can see this lower. Now this lower is pretty good. It does not have a metal insert for the buffer tube. It's just plastic. It's just plastic where the hand grip screws in too, so you don't want to over torque it. And I have fired some 5.56 through this and it did okay, but it's not a forever type of receiver. It's not the kind of receiver you're going to want for SHTF, right? Because it probably is going to break at some point. Let's unfasten this. But the parts, all the parts were kind of tight fitting. These pins are a little wobbly, but they seem to work okay. But I have problems when I put the safety up in here, the pin for that. So let me take this hand grip off and I'll show you what I did. The screwdriver. I'm gonna grab that. I got the phone propped up on my toolbox here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll take this off. The Magpul MOE grip has a spot in the bottom, a little cover that you can use to keep stuff, and keeps the Allen wrench in here for his optic, which is just a flip up rear sight. But then we can get down here with the screwdriver and take this off. Got aim just a little higher. And we have to be careful not to lose our spring. That goes down on our handle there. That's our spring for our safety. So where this detent goes in right here for the safety, that was not the correct size. So I had to take and hollow that out a little bit with the drill bit. And I used a bigger drill bit at the bottom and then a smaller drill bit right down at the end to allow that to float freely, and the safety operates fine. So make sure it's not gonna fall out. So the other problem I had was where this detent pin goes down in here was too small. And so I was drilling that out a little bit too, and I basically had a hold of it like so, and I'm drilling, and I pushed too hard and the drill bit went all the way through and drilled into my finger right there, and it hit bone, like bone chips came out of there. I've been putting some antibiotic cream on it and keeping it covered, then it made a hole there, and then it wouldn't, of course the spring just fell out through the hole. And so I just took some Harbor Freight epoxy and filled the bottom of that hole and put some tape over it, and it has held just fine. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to upgrade them to this Magpul pistol grip, is because it's got that little part right there that'll help give that some extra support. But it hasn't seemed to be any kind of an issue. But if you're getting one of these receivers and you need to hollow that out, just be careful. Don't push down really. I wasn't pushing hard at all. Just don't push. I was using this machinist drill bit. There's still a little piece of bone on the end of it there. Yeah, and it's really sharp, and it dug down into my finger pretty good before I realized what happened. By the time the pain hit, the damage was done, you know. So just be aware of that if you get one of these, that you're probably, number one, are going to have to hollow it out a little bit to make that detent fit down in there for the buffer. Other than that, everything seems to go in pretty good and pretty standard, and it was a pretty easy assembly. He's got the Palmetto State Armory buffer tube on here. He has not staked his castle nut yet. We're going to fire a little more before we stake it, just to make sure everything's okay, and then we'll put a stake in that. This has the integrated trigger guard, so you don't have to worry about putting that in. And these pins, they will break off really easy on these polymers. I've never broken one, but basically you don't hammer them in there. You take a pair of pliers and you squeeze them in. Unlike on the aluminum where you have to tap them in with the hammer. But I mean, that's pretty much that. I'll go ahead and put this back on here now so I don't lose anything. There we go. Oh crap, I dropped a screw out of it. These can be a pain. Oh, that one went right in there. Right in the hole. How about that? I fudged around with this thing for 10 minutes trying to get it in the hole when I put it on the first time. And now it just went right in. Maybe I can get the screwdriver in the screw. There we go. Okay, so now we're back together. Yeah, so I mean that all works well. The 22 LR bolt, now we started to have some malfunctions with this, but it was getting pretty dirty, pretty screwed up, and so I sprayed some Ballistol on it, and then she started running good. But this could use a good cleaning. But this is your 22 LR bolt conversion bolt that you can just drop in there and then use. she gets dirty, and but she runs pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this little guy. It was expensive enough, but you know, $180 roughly, I think, for this and the 3 magazines. You know, they make a cheaper one that only comes with 1 magazine, but you know, kids gotta have magazines. And again, he was spending his money on it, so he made all those choices and decisions. There's some blue stuff left over from my shoot and see targets on here. But I'm just gonna clean this up and probably put it all back together while I've got it apart. But yeah, I mean, this it certainly works for him. Now he needs to work a little on his trigger control, keeping his booger hooker off the bang switch. But you know, I just made sure he was aiming down range the whole time, and he's hitting his targets okay. So I know that his ear pro is in the way of the stock and seeing the sights, but this particular range has a rule that he's got to wear earplugs and over-the-ear protection. So it's too cold to go shoot it outside anywhere. So probably what we'll do is look for him to get some really low-profile ear pro that he can wear. And you know, you want to protect his young ears, but he's got to be able to see the sights to really shoot it well. So his head's kind of cocked at a weird angle. I'll show you some video of him shooting here. But yeah, he likes his rifle, and I like it too. I shot some 5.56 out of it, and it seemed dead nuts on accurate. So I'm pretty happy with it. And look, like you'll see in the video there, he's shooting a little bit low, and that's the second target, which I showed him. I put a piece of yellow tape where he actually has to aim when he's that close up, because the AR-15 has a straight back bolt that goes straight back into the receiver. It doesn't drop down, so your sights are elevated up off of the barrel. So at close range, it'll hit about 1.5 inches low. But then when you get out to 50 and 200 yards, it should be dead on. So, you know, I had to explain to him that you have to aim a little high. And then he started doing better. But he definitely needs to work on, you know, his trigger control and all that. You know, but that comes with the experience. As he gets to be a better shooter and we get to take more trips to the range, he'll improve. We'll get him some lower profile ear probes so that he can get his head down on the stock. And we'll go from there. We'll go from there with it, and we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Tom, Frugal Prepper.